Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Galactic Goddess TV. This is Rada, and I'm so excited to have a conversation with you this evening. I wanted to chat with you about what it means to be bitten by a brown recluse. And I'm talking about the spiritual aspects. Um, you know, it's not always great to be bitten by venomous things because they can be deadly. But also, sometimes there's a gift in these experiences. And I have just received that gift myself. Um, a couple nights ago, I guess. Gosh, it's been about a week. Time flies when you've been bitten by a brown recluse. Um, I I got bit and I didn't know what it was at first. I thought maybe it was the chiggers out here because they're these little insect bugs that are pretty crazy and they can cause a lot of damage, but I've never had a bad reaction to chiggers. It was on my toes, and so I woke up and my toes were like so swollen, my whole foot. I couldn't even walk on my foot. And it was on my left foot. So I thought that was interesting as well. Um, but then I found shortly after that my toes were turning like a purplish color and even going between like black and purple, and it was pretty like gruesome looking. And my toes were like just expanding and expanding and I was like, what is going on here? And so I found out that it was a brown recluse, and I wasn't I was just a bit shocked, but you know, I felt like, things heal. I mean, some people have had very bad experiences where they've had to, it's been much worse, but I'm very lucky that I know a lot of like natural remedies and things like that. And so, I want to tune into the spiritual aspect because I feel like when we get bit by something that's venomous, um, it activates like a death process within us and a release process within us. And from what I understand, the brown recluse, um, it kills the tissues in your skin. So, people can have really crazy, scary reactions. Like I was really nervous about that, but um, my skin didn't break open, and basically I just felt like I have to ride this out because this is the wild part is like the night before I literally felt like I felt like a spirit guide was like, you need spider energy. And spider energy is powerful. It's the divine feminine energy. It's a creation. Like spiders create these beautiful webs. And I mean, it's not, people think negative because they're spiders, but they're beautiful and they're so intricate. Like, look what it creates. It's a creatrix. It has that creatrix energy. When I was a little girl and I was living in a yogi house, and I was living with a bunch of people that were meditating, and it was like a yogi house. I was pretty bored because I was a kid. And so, there was a little farm close by that people could visit. So I walked over and I caught a little black widow. And I couldn't have a pet, so I had a black widow for a while, and I named it Bubba, Bubba the Black Widow, and it did well in my care. I fed it little insects, and then and then we were gonna move, so I had to let it go. Obviously, I didn't let it go in the place that I was staying, but outside, um, in a wooded area. And I like spiders. I think they're beautiful. They're beautiful. Of course, I don't, want to get bitten every day, but um, I've never been bitten by a brown recluse before. And so I knew that there was something here for me, like beyond what meets the eye, because that's how spirit works, is that I always look deeper and feel into things. And I got that it was actually about clearing a past life where I had died of venom. And in that lifetime, I died by choice, and I allowed it to end me. I just didn't want to keep going, and I allowed the venom to take me over. So that lifetime was intense, very that lifetime was very intense. And I've been working through that lifetime and this lifetime. It feels like so many of the same characters, like all the people, like the gang stalkers and all these covens that want to attack me and do black magic, like they were doing the same stuff in that lifetime. It's like, oh my gosh, we like this cycle is like it's like crusty, So so I really appreciate this brown recluse stepping in and burning it through, because I had to get bit again by something else that was venomous. You know, it brought back the remnants of that lifetime that were not complete, because those parts have been lingering. And I believe that we live in all of our timelines at once, and it's not, I mean, our past, present, future parallel and through all dimensions, but what if we're like living them all at once? Because we can, and so when a lifetime doesn't close out, like it closed out really harshly, because there was so much intensity to it. There was so much intensity. There was so much on the line, and there was so much coming at me that I just wanted to. I just hadn't. I was like an animal that had like nowhere to go, like backed into a corner. And so I chose that in that in that lifetime, because I didn't see a way out. And so the theme, it's really no surprise that like this lifetime I've had so many stalkers, and so many people that I don't know that are so invested in my life. And you know, I'm like, I live a pretty simple, very, very simple life, living in a cabin in the woods. I'm very to myself. I mean, I mind my business. I just do my creative stuff. But I understand that like that had to happen too, because what's been happening in this lifetime is I've had to confront a lot of these hyenas. Hyenas, they get into packs, they get into groups. They even come for lions, because they got to come in groups and packs, because that's how weak they are on their own. See, if a hyena and a lion were face to face, one to one, the lion would eat that hyena. But So they got to come and cruise, and they have to roll deep because they want to take down a lion. So those themes have been bleeding through this lifetime. And I'm like, I'm so sick of it. I don't have fear, but I feel like this is old. This is old, literally old because it's from another timeline. And I need to close this out. And I have been closing it out with the decrees and by doing a lot of spiritual work in calling back my soul fragments and all of those time-space continuums where this stuff has been going on. We are the soul collectors, my friends. Like we have to collect our own souls. Those hyenas, they need to worry about collecting their own soul instead of trying to come for someone who is minding their own business, okay? But like everybody, like, because if they don't collect their souls, they're gonna be fractured in this matrix for eternity. Like it's our job and our duty to ourself and our soul. And if you want to think of it as a video game, like you get to move ahead when you collect your soul and you close those cycles and those chapters, right? So it's really important for people to be stop worrying about what everyone else is doing and start focusing on your own healing journey. That's how you're gonna make it. That's how you're gonna make it through this cycle because we're coming through a new part in the universe. Like the planet's actually moving through different parts, and we're moving into parts we haven't been in yet. And this is what changes like the frequencies. This changes a lot. This changes the game. Like the game is moving into a whole new level. And it's a place where the devil can't get he can't get in because where it's going, like as the planet is actually cycling itself through these new places in the universe, we're getting contact with new vibrations, new frequencies. This is activating our DNA. This is activating our memories. Some of you are remembering your past lives. You're remembering parts of yourself. And come on, you gotta like appreciate that. And you have to recognize there's some great significance to this. Um, I want you to like be interested in your own journey because it's fascinating, it's interesting. It's also part of our evolution because we have cycled through like the same scenarios over and over again in you know, different lifetimes. And a lot of that was soul trapping, soul looping. And it's like you have to get your own key. You have to activate your key and because you are the code. So you are the one who can activate that. And I know that part of the reason why I got bit was because I'm activating the completion of that timeline. This has been like an ongoing completion for me, and my soul and what we're here to do because we're here to step onto a new cycle and one where we're not carrying all of that pain from that lifetime and all the others. Um, where we felt like there was, you know, there was like nowhere to go except to leave and then start over. So we don't do that anymore. We face everything because to we can't afford to do that anymore. This is the last hurrah we're going through, and so we gotta do it, even if it's hard, even if it's like gut-wrenching, and it's sometimes it's lonely, but all, and I'm sure you feel it. I'm sure you feel all the emotions. Oh my gosh. You're gonna feel the full spectrum if you're tuned in, tapped in. That's why I want to tell you, it's really important to not be so dependent on other people's energy. Like all these hyenas, they can't depend on one being's energy because as we move through the universe and we're moving through new spaces, that won't be a viable option. I'm just telling you right now, that won't be a viable option. Feeding off of others won't be a viable option. Um, of course, we are going to go through one more timeline split, and all the kind of vampires are going to go onto their timeline, and then the sovereigns are going to go on theirs. And so I know that there's like a last hurrah where the vampires are trying to lasso in, the sovereigns. And so everyone has their own choice. It's your soul, it's your life, and it's your light. And if you don't want to turn it on and you want to use other people's light, that won't be available in the future. So it's really, really good to get off of that codependency, the need to feed off other people's energy, and time to rise in your own sovereignty, because you're going to have to ask yourself, well, how did I turn into a vampire? Like, how did I become so codependent on other people's energy that I forgot how to create my own. You know what I mean? So those are questions you're going to have to ask yourself if you want to move forward in the game. Um, because it's game over in so many ways. Because as these other timelines collapse, and so many light workers and people are starting to collapse these old timelines on their very own and saying, okay, I'm done. Like I'm doing the work. Like a lot of light workers, a lot of healers, a lot of people who have been struggling in so many ways. But they've been showing up and doing the work, even if they're like feel like they're not getting all the reward, but they're just showing up. Well, I'm telling you guys, it's gonna be worth it. It's going to be worth it because the best is yet to come. And that's why when we get these crazy things that happen, like I got bit on my toes and my foot with this brown recluse, I'm not gonna like curse it and say, this is horrible. Like I'm curious why. And so I think it's important. So the spiritual message from the brown recluse. Okay, so this is me. I have died from venom before, not by accident, not from attack, but by choice. I let it end me. In a past life, I laid still, not because I didn't know how to fight, but because I knew there was no space left to be fully alive. The world was not ready for my frequency, for my magic, for my light. And so I let the venom take me. I let the poison quiet what others feared in me. And I chose exit over struggle. But some deaths don't end in silence. Some leave echoes in the soul, venom in the blood memory, contracts that echoes across lifetimes until they are faced and they are freed this lifetime. The venom returned a brown recluse, a bite in my sleep, not a ritual, not this time, just the body ready to purge, just the reckoning. And so I woke up, still alive, still here. This time I didn't surrender. This time I transmuted. And it's a message that not all venom is evil. And sometimes it's medicine, and sometimes it's a mirror. And sometimes it helps to either reactivate timelines so that we can clear them, or it literally comes in as a death to those old timelines and it clears it for us. And just as the brown recluse arrived, it was not to kill me, but to call me back to life. And it brought with it every contract that said you must die for your truth and you must hurt to heal others. And your body must disappear to be holy. So, I've outgrown all those agreements and many, many, many more. I've been a martyr in many, many, many lifetimes. Like, I mean, when I say martyr, like a death martyr. So I've burned through a lot of sacrifice and I've carried a lot for people in my life personally for a lot of pain. I've held a lot of pain for people because that's what I was kind of trained to do. And I've decided that I'm also giving that up, because the empath and the healer, we don't have to every single lifetime like be that person who takes everybody's pain. And I feel so much, like I've always felt so much. I was born feeling so much because that's part of my gift. An artist, a healer, we feel so much and we express that through our art, through our healing. We you can only really be a great healer if you understand pain, right? If you've mastered pain because you can understand the pain of others. But it's not something you really want to hold on to. Like I think it's time for so many healers to finally like acknowledge, yeah, there's so much pain in the world. There's so much pain in my lineage, but I am not going to be the keeper of it all. And I've spent a good amount of time and energy in my life purging out all of these things. And also, I have initiated a lot of contract clearings through my own body, for my lineage. I have done tremendous amount of work. And of course, the work never ends, and I don't plan on it just stopping. But I'm not going to be the placeholder of that. And I don't like carrying those memories and feelings of that lifetime because it was really traumatic for me. So, it's interesting because today I felt like this void, like, whoa, I feel flat. Like I don't feel, I just usually I don't know, I'm pretty in tune and I'm always feeling the energies and I felt the great void and it can be a weird feeling to feel nothing. You know what I mean? But that's like your slate's being cleaned because we all have to do that. We all have to do that. We have to kind of visit that place, that void, and not be afraid of the void because the void is a gift to start, to restart, and to allow a new beginning to come because we can't move forward if we have a cup full of so much from the past, and it's not that this stuff didn't happen, but we also want to empty our cup out. Like we know what's happened and we're going to take the wisdom. We're going to take the jewels from that lifetime. Like it's so intricate and complex because like when I went on my medicine journey, I saw that lifetime and I saw how much, people suffered and when when this tragedy happened. And so um I understand that there's more to do in this lifetime and I plan on doing it and I'm not gonna back down from it. When the opportunity arises, I will say yes because that is part of the purpose. We don't just like leave all of our lifetimes behind. Sometimes it's a continuation, but it we can change the duality of it. So that was a very dark, dark lifetime. And so I also had a lot of darker contracts in that lifetime. I was dealing with darker beings. And what happens when you are somebody who goes through that? When you go into your next incarnation, you still have like those beings are, they don't just let you go. You have to churn and work through it through so much. And so you're gonna have a challenging lifetime um after you've had like because we go through different lifetimes where we choose, okay, I'm gonna be like team dark or I'm gonna be team light. And then we have to like alchemize it at the end, right? Because we have to learn from both and then we have to alchemize it and then we have to ascend from it. Like we can't be stuck in the dogmas of either because there's so much dogma in both of those. I mean, as far as our humans are concerned, right? They will tell you what's good and what's bad, but the creator knows that there's something more than both that it's about alchemizing both. Like we came here for these experiences. We came here to know, to know how strong we could be. We came here to know that there's no challenge we can't overcome. We came here to remember because the knowing is the remembering. It's the great remembrance. And so we we are allowed to know who we've been and where we've been because it really gives us the clues to our next mission, our next project, our next big thing. And it doesn't just manifest all the time so fast for everybody because everyone's in different circumstances in their life, you know? Um, you're put into seclusion sometimes because you have to go inward. And you really need to kind of, if that's the case, then that means that Creator wants you to know thyself. You have to get to know yourself so that you don't become your own worst enemy. So you can love those parts of yourself and all of them. And that's why also knowing about your past lives is very valuable. Because here's the thing. There are beings that know you. They know you good and, like light and dark, like the angelics and then also the demonic ones. They know you from your lifetime. So you don't even know them. And it's so crazy because a lot of people that are dealing with dark themes and dark entities and kind of like the hyenas. This is a crossover from another lifetime because the battles aren't over, right? There are central themes that we are still working through, but the battles are different, right? Because we have to conquer it in our own self first, right? We have to understand ourself. We have to conquer those things, those themes, those um adversities within ourself. And you're like, what is this? And you look deeper. If you look deeper and deeper, you'll find out why. That's one reason why I love the infinite cosmic records because you can go into the different doorways and they give you the clues. They give you also back the pieces of yourself. And it's all kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. So you put it back together, you're putting stuff back together. Like we didn't get the instruction book. Like some people do get instruction books because they are part of the occulted families that have them. But many of the quote unquote normies don't have any of that. And so it's but still, even in the occult, they don't always tell you the full picture either about where we're really going and what we're really doing. And they're not really preparing their people for what's coming because what's coming is beyond the comprehension of anyone here, including myself. Excuse me. So it's positive, but you have to be aligned. And that's why they may have like a lot of the information, but not all of it because it's meant to be a divine surprise, you know? And the most important thing is getting yourself right. Getting yourself right. Like everybody is like, we're all freaking out. What's going on in the world? Oh, this is happening and that's happening. You know, like we're getting hit with like a lot of trauma from the events that are happening in the world. Weather, weather, exactly, the weather. So weather events and whether they are organic or high technology driven. It's at this point, it's almost like we all have to kind of we have to stay within ourselves, stay present within ourselves because what happens is like we're losing our energy, like stressing about this, stressing about that. And that's not to mean that we don't care and we can't send money or do, support in some way, but like we have to have our own house in order, each and every one of us. And I'm talking about spiritually because that's what's going to matter is you need to have your spiritual house in order. And you are probably going through a massive purge yourself with all of these solar flares and the light that is coming in to Earth. Like it is, there's nothing that won't be penetrated, right? Everything is going to be penetrated. Everything is being penetrated with this plasma light, with the solar flares. And as we're moving deeper into our travels in the universe, um, they're not going to tell you this, that we're going deeper and it's going to shake your consciousness. It's going to shake your consciousness. And this is why you see so many people who are going crazy. Like people are losing their minds because they don't know what's going on. And this is really important that we're staying conscious, right? We're staying conscious. We don't want to lose it. You got to stay conscious, stay grounded, stay stay where you are inside of yourself. Like it is so important to get grounded. Like connecting with this light. Start getting familiar with this light. Start feeling it. Start looking at the sunsets. If you're a super early riser, look at the sunrise, Start to put your feet on the ground. Start to take your Epsom salt bath. Start to really ground because that's the only thing that's going to matter. And um and understand, don't be afraid. Like when things start to come up that are shocking. Just take a deep breath because more shocking things are going to happen. There's not going to be, it's almost going to be like popcorn. Another shocking thing. Every hour of every day, it will be shocking. And so also we don't want to get like so obsessed with every little thing going on because what will matter more is if you are in divine union with yourself right now and the creator. Everybody's mind is shaking, right? There's everywhere you look, you see something crazy happening. And so you're gonna have to, that's why you're gonna have to make sure that you don't have these entities and things lingering on you because they they feed off of your confusion, your PTSD, and your traumas. And when you see another trauma and you overindulge, it's feeding off of it. Like you're going to have to make those commands regarding the demons, entities, archons, and even the dark ETs, etc. You can find the commands in the Decrees of Commands, the book we just put out. Prayer. Prayer is powerful. Prayer is powerful, but you have to also command away things that don't belong in your timeline. People, beings, beings pretending to be people, like things that are draining your energy. People that are draining your energy. Like be very, very like snobby in the sense that you're not just throwing your energy everywhere. Your energy is gold and you need to treat it like gold, you know? So those are just some things that are helpful. But going back to, the brown recluse, I was actually really I was upset because I was like, I don't know if my toes are gonna fall off. Like, right? You know what I mean? Like when it bites you, it cuts off oxygen flow. And so my foot would get like swollen and then it would go down because I was doing this stuff and then it would go back again. And I felt like I was oscillating like between timelines and it was like happening in the body. But also I made it like I just was kind of being an observer. Like I didn't put my emotion of like, oh my gosh, you can't do that. You just have to be observing what's going on. And I'm glad I did because as I observed it without giving it like all more stress, more trauma, it's doing its thing. It's working through me. And I can feel like it's activated different parts of like my light body and it's going through all my systems and starting to purge out those venomous timelines and that experience and also the venom that was in my energetic morphogenetic field that was actually death energy. So it's like almost like overriding and clearing that out. It's hard to explain sometimes. I hope you understand what I'm saying, but I'm also saying this because if you next time if you get like a bee sting or a hornet sting or you get a bug bite, of course, like, do what you have to do, go to the doctor. But also like on a spiritual level, you can ask like, "Oh, this is interesting. I wonder what this is about." And you might be surprised because there's always something. There's something more than meets the eye. And when you're in tune with spirit, you'll start to enjoy the process of finding out. It becomes it becomes part of the puzzle piece um, that each one of us is assigned to figuring out. And I hope this helped you in some way. I want to send you a lot of love and this journey is intense. Um, so give yourself a lot of compassion. And remember, like we always play, we've played different characters in each lifetime. And if a certain character that you're playing or the group that you're playing with is like you've outgrown it, it's okay to like change it up. It's okay to change it up. It's okay to change your life and your belief system because we all get indoctrinated to the belief systems of whomever is in charge of raising us. And when we grow up, we have the right to start to unpack that and see if it's still aligned. Sometimes things we fervently believe in, we can outgrow as we grow up, but we just hold on to it for sentiment. And it's no longer serving, it's actually harming. So it's always a good thing to do a check-in and just see if you're aligned. Because you want to be aligned with your highest timeline. And if the people that you're hanging out with are always gossiping about others and trying to pull people down, well, guess what that's doing to your vibration? It's also hurting you. The things we do to others, it actually hurts ourselves. And that is the golden rule. Um, I think when we elevate, we're not there yet, but when we elevate, we start to understand that I am you and you are me, that we want to start having more reverence for each other and come back to our humanity before the trauma, before the drama. And remember who we are at the soul blueprint level, because it's way cooler and way better than the one that the one that's just playing out, the program that's just playing out. Because each one of us has been given programs that just play out. And if we just follow the program, well, you know what happens. So, you have this divine opportunity to reprogram yourself and to do it with a lot of love and integrity. And we get to heal those places in us that you know, that probably have been broken for many lifetimes. And so it's a beautiful thing. It's not an easy thing and it's not a painless thing, but it's a beautiful thing. Because if you don't like just distract yourself with mayhem and chaos and all that, if you just sit with it. And if you learn to kind of enjoy your own company, you're gonna get a long way, a lot faster on your path. We come together for community, for certain things, but also it's very important to be good spending time with yourself, to be good contemplating. This is the lifetime you want to take advantage of because after this cycle ends, then you're going to be trapped in another 26,000 year cycle from wherever you were here. So if you're on that low frequency, you get that 26,000 year low frequency experience. You know what I mean? So what you do now is going to be amplified for eons of time in for you. So you're going to want to invest in the highest possible outcome. And that doesn't mean that means like we don't always get the instant reward. We don't always get that instant flashy reward because we're doing the deep inner work. And so we're churning like ghee, butter, you know? Krishna always loved that ghee butter, but it takes hours and hours and it's so much work just to churn that. But what comes from it is it's clarified. It's the most it's the most nutritious clarified butter of the divine. So we have to do that with ourselves. And guess what? You know, sometimes it's hard because you have to feel your feelings and it's really uncomfortable sometimes to feel your feelings because they're not always like, you know, when you're clearing out lifetimes of things, your feelings will sometimes fluctuate. But be the observer and go, "Oh, that's interesting. Like that's interesting." Kind of watch it pass by. In my energy healing sessions, I always say it gets worse before it gets better. And the reason is because, like, when we are clearing out some really old ancient stuff in somebody, you know, we're like clearing it out, but it's coming to the surface. Like, it was so hidden, it was so deep down, but as it's coming, as the experience of it leaving, it's like you feel the feelings, you feel the energy, the emotions, like it's like a tidal wave coming through you. And so if you hold your breath, you're going to drown. You got to breathe through it and you have to be okay and say, okay, I know it's passing and it's the next wave is going to come. You know, so just be patient with yourself and have some fun exploring your own journey. Like, have some fun. If you have different experiences, look up the meaning of that spirit animal or insect or whatever. See what the messages are. There's always something magical available to you if you're willing to be curious. Be curious about your journey. It makes it a lot more interesting. So I just wanted to send you all my love. Until next time, bye for now.